You just heard Stevie Nicks with Landslide right here on Radio Nova. And as I promised before, our special guest tonight is Olympic bronze medalist Coleman Scott, wrestling for the Titan Mercury Club. Coleman, how you doing tonight?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule to make a guest appearance.
Oh, no problem. I'm glad to be on. Thank you for having me.
So, as you know, we've the IOC dropped wrestling, and now we are past stage one in one of the top three sports back. What were you doing when you got the news that wrestling was dropped from 2020?
I was actually on my way to World Cup this year in Tehran, Iran, and we had a long layover in Frankfurt, Germany, so we had a hotel room, and I was the first one there, and I walked in, and the only English-speaking channel was BBC. So I turned it on, and I'm watching it, and I saw on the bottom of the little news teaser said wrestling to be dropped from 2020 Olympics, and I sort of looked at it, and I'm like, that can't be right. That's wrong. I'd never heard anything about it, and I'm like, I'm in the game. That can't be right. And, sure enough, I looked at it, and I waited for it to come back on, and it said it, and then as people started flowing in, you had Jordan Burroughs and Tervel and those guys came in, and I told them, and they thought I was lying to them, and my guys, I don't know what it is, but I believe that wrestling is dropped from the Olympics, and that's the first we heard about it. As soon as I walked off the plane, wasn't the thing that they wanted to hear, and we sort of thought it was a dream, and that it wasn't right, it wasn't true.
Did that affect how you wrestled the World Cup, or did you have to kind of put it out of your mind and focus on that?
I try to put it out of my mind, but that's something that you can't. It's our lives. I've been doing it since I've been 6 years old. I've had a dream of being an Olympic champ since I've been 10. And to take that away from these kids that are after me that's had this dream for the same amount of time, it was just devastating to me. It hurt. I've coached Little League and junior high, and I have a bunch of kids, that have told me, hey, I want to be an Olympic champ. I had good family friends that their kids wrestle, and they came to the Olympics to support me and the USA team. And, they have specifically told me, this has really driven my son to want to be an Olympic champion and be in the Olympic Games like yourself. And, to take that away from them, that would be absurd. It hurt me. It hurt me deep down to think that they might not be able to pursue a dream like I am.
You got to wrestle at one of the most decorated colleges in the whole entire nation, Oklahoma State, under John Smith, two-time gold medalist, six-time world champ. How has he helped you along your career? John. He's in my mind the greatest U.S. coach ever, and he's the greatest U.S. wrestler ever. And his coaching ability is unbelievable, and the results show. It's no secret. I mean, he wins titles. He has individuals winning titles, and he's done about everything. And why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I want to wrestle for the greatest ever? And he's an offensive mind, and he's my style, and that's what I want. And it was. I wouldn't change anything. I came in and had a great team, and we won 2 NCAA titles, team titles while I was there, and it was the best years of my life. You mentioned a lot about the youth and how some of these dreams could be taken away. It's not official just yet because we still have the vote in September. What can you tell these kids to stay driven, stay in the sport, and bring all their friends to wrestling practice?
You got to keep dreaming. The biggest thing for me was, I like I said, since I've been 10 years old in 1996, and I saw the Olympic Games in Atlanta and had a little bit more coverage of it, I've had this dream of being an Olympic champion. I think I saw that was the pinnacle of our sport. So as a kid right now, and a junior high and high school kid who had their eyes on 2020, they got to keep looking at that. And in my mind, we'll get this back in the Olympics. There's no way they can deny us. They didn't realize how big of an uproar it would be, and how hurt the wrestling community would be when they dropped us. It was unbelievable what they did, and I don't think it'll ever. I think we'll be back in, and these kids just have to see that, and they have to stay driven. And it's helped me go through college and get a degree, and wrestle at, like you said, most historic college ever, and it's just a great deal to be a part of here, and and these kids just have to keep looking at it and wanting the same thing I did and stay motivated.
Do you think that's hard for these kids, taking that soul away without knowing why we were dropped?
It is. It's hard to explain to a kid the real reasons why we were dropped. I'm 27 years old, so I can understand a little bit of the politics and all that stuff. They don't. They don't understand that yet. And that is hard. That's very hard for a kid to realize. Man, this guy's. These people who've never wrestled. Why are they? Why are they voting on? And I think we've made the right changes to better ourselves as Fila. As Fila has and USA Wrestling, and I think it'll be great for us leading up into this vote in September.
A big topic that every wrestler that I've brought on that's talked about it are the new rules. What do you think about the new rules that Fila put in place?
Love them. There's nothing better than getting back to the old ways of no. There's not a lot of risk to go try to attack and score, and I love everything they've done with them. And if you look at pre-04, these are very similar to the rules. And that's what I grew up wrestling. So it was the first thing. That's how I got introduced to freestyle. And I love them to this day, and I think it'll be great for our community, and I think it'll help us tremendously getting our sport back in.
On a personal note, what did you think about the ball draw and winning periods?
It is what it is. You have to adapt to what they make the rules. I just abide by them. There's no reason to complain about them. So it's you look at it and you say I wasn't a huge fan of it, but it helped me out in certain instances, and it hurt me in certain instances. So at times, you got to say, okay, I guess it was good, but all in all, no, I wasn't a fan of it. But you have to, like I said, adapt, and you can't complain about it. If I can't change any of the rules or do anything with it, then there's no sense in me worrying about it, is the way I look at it.
One of your fellow competitors, who's now retired, Matt Valeni, brought up a very, very interesting point that actually eluded me. He believes that female wrestling is going to help bring back wrestling because it creates opportunities, it's equality, diversity. What do you feel about female wrestling?
Hard question. I think you hit the head on the nail when you said equality. That's our society right now. Whether it's not so much as an individual, but our society is about equality and the equal rights movements and stuff. And it does create, with women's wrestling, it does create, it gives them opportunities to do the same thing we are and chase the same dream we have. And that's about, if it helps our sport get back in the Olympics, then I'm all for it.
Another point that that was brought up by Reese Humphrey, he believes that the IOC is punishing the youth and didn't think about all this when they decided to drop wrestling. How do you feel about that?
The IOC's got their minds made up. I don't agree with the way they make decisions. Whether they get their pockets greased a little bit or whatever, it's all hearsay. And I'm pretty certain in my mind that none of them have ever seen a wrestling event like the Olympics. And it's a great event. They all go look at modern pentathlon, which was saved, and this sport, which was saved. They look at these other sports that, are money sports, and all these people on the board have a bunch of money. And, wrestling's a blue-collar sport. It really is. A lot of blue-collar members. And, that tournament in London was one of the best tournaments I've ever watched and been a part of. And, I just, if they were there and watched that, they wouldn't even have thought about dropping it.
Tervel Delagnev brought up a very good point. Oh, geez, and it just eluded me right now. Holy smokes, I've never had that happen before. So we're going to move right along. We have an email coming in from Jackson out of Illinois. He wants to know, how are you recovering from shoulder surgery or pectoral surgery?
I'm doing good. They had to reattach the pec. I got it anchored back into the bone, and I actually had a ligament messed up in there that they fixed. And, once I got that done and I flew up to Colorado Springs to get it done, it was only about an hour surgery. It'll be another 4 weeks before I can start rehab, and probably another 4 months before I'm full go on the mat. but it sort of gives me some time to reflect and spend with my family and friends, and something I hadn't had in probably 10 years. And I'm enjoying it right now, and I'm definitely motivated to get back on the mat. And my wife and I are making the trip to Budapest to go watch one of my best friends, Obi Blanc, go win a world title.
Another guy for Titan Mercury.
Yes.
Weren't you a Cowboy Wrestling Club before out of Oklahoma State?
I was actually Gator Wrestling Club / Cowboy Wrestling Club, and I'm still Cowboy Wrestling Club, but it's Titan Mercury is our major club for Obi and I. And they take care of. They help me out tremendously with travel and all this stuff. And we got a couple people training here, so they're helping everybody out, and couldn't be with a better group of people.
The point that Travell brought up around the Olympic time is, a lot of these sports like gymnastics and wrestling, the names are not well known throughout the years like baseball and football, but only when the Olympic time comes, that's when people start to notice the Jordan Burroughs, yourself, the Kyle Dakes. How do you feel about that?
I don't do the sport for fame or this or that. I'm in it for my heart, and I love the sport, and I love winning, and I actually love the amateur status of it. And, it's like I said before, it's a blue collar sport, and I love that aspect of it. I keep my life as simple as possible, and that's for a reason. And that's a lot of reason why I'm in Oklahoma right now. And I like it. I'm not a guy that wants to be in the media. I don't want to be in this or that. I want to have my own life and nobody really know what I'm doing, and spend it with my family and friends, and have nobody scrutinizing me.
Another Olympic team member, Jake Herbert, at 84 kilograms. We've had him on multiple times, and he's talked a lot about you and how you guys had the same upbringing. What has wrestling done for you personally?
Words can't really describe what wrestling has done. Like I said, 6 years old, Pittsburgh, about an hour south of Pittsburgh. Growing up, coal mining town of Waynesburg, Pennsylvania. A bunch of friends, that got into the game, and the friendships that I've made, the lifelong friendships I've made, and the life lessons I've learned from this sport. It's shaped me in the man I am today, and without it, I don't know where I'd be or what I'd be doing. I had a great upbringing, and it's just wrestling has just propelled me even more. And it's brought our family together, and my wife never saw a wrestling match till she met me, and now her family travels with me everywhere, to every tournament, in the States and to Olympics and everything, and they love it. They're ate up with it, and so it's brought me so many things I can't even pinpoint one of them.
That's absolutely amazing to hear. Jake talked about the Angry Fish Wrestling Club.
Oh yeah, the Angry Fish. You had Ty Moore and Ray Brinzer running it, and Mark Angle popping in, and Rich Catalano, and those guys. When I'm in high school, it was up out of Pittsburgh, and I would drive an hour once or twice a week, just to get these workouts in with them. And so we had the best of the best, and coming in, and we've really created a bond, and we've stuck. We know, in all aspects of life, we still keep in contact with all these as fish, just ex-fish as we call them, and it's just it's a great. It's one of those things that wrestling's brought me, a great community, a great bond of friends, and I'm just fortunate enough to be able to still be in it, and still be able to talk to these guys on a weekly basis and interact with them. It's unbelievable.
How do you think that social media will help drive us to get wrestling back into 2020?
It's that next generation. There was no social media when I was in school, in college. It's just now picking up, and it's an amazing thing what people can find out and what people can do through, say, Twitter or Facebook. I have people tell me,